Hello there, and welcome to Sweet Child of Time. It's a podcast where I introduce a friend to the Televaz world, to the Wheel of Time. I'm your host, Steve Barnes. My co-host may have noticed I switched up a little bit, but this is what I should have been doing all along, making it clear that he is my friend and he's not my child. But let me introduce the sweet child. It's Marshland Monster. I see you, James.
Hello. I see you as well, sir. A way to say it is I think in the beginning you used to say a sweet child of Wheel of Time. Marshland Monster.
Maybe. I don't know. I think I've been saying the same thing every time because I don't even think when I say it. And I had to think about it this time like, okay, he's not my son. He's not my child. He's a guy I do a podcast with. So let me not make it sound like he's my kid.
I'm going to start sending you Father's Day cards.
It's coming up, son.
Oh, yeah. June is for dads. Everyone knows that.
Yep. Dads and grads. And I'm a dad of a kitty cat right here named Melissa Villasenor. Hi, Melissa. She's perched in her chair over there. I was hoping that she might meet one of, maybe not your child, but a new roommate. Don't you have a new roommate in the house?
We do. And I'm the only one taking care of this cat, it feels like, because Nicole said, hey, once I have this specific amount in my bank account, I'm going to get a new cat. I was like, okay, that saved me, because a few months ago she wanted a new cat and then realized after taking Socks to the vet, because we needed his medical information updated, new vaccines, all of that kind of stuff, in order for some places to allow us to adopt. So after that, she's like, oh, I realized how expensive cats are, so I'm going to hold off on this. I'm like, okay, good. Because I was also like, I was apprehensive to get Socks and very apprehensive to get another one after Socks.
Okay,
because,
gotcha.
oh boy, he was a hectic, just, It took 6 months for him to, like, warm up to us, and still is a little not warmed up to us. But her mom, after saying to her mom, like, oh, yeah, I'm waiting to get a cat, this and that, the expenses, her mom goes, I'll pay for it. I'm cool with that. And I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
So,
I think that's great, but you were like, oh, shit. Here we go.
Well, Nicole works Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. That's usually like the time she leaves the apartment to do her, in quotes, day job.
Okay.
She's like, let's go adopt a cat on Tuesday. Well, we have another cat. So this cat, we have one room that has a door on it that isn't the bathroom.
Oh.
So this cat has to be in the studio, meaning someone has to be, because we don't want to just leave this sad little cat alone for the entire night. One of us has to be in there. Well, Nicole has this specific, like, sleeping situation, all of that. It's hot in the studio. So the first night I was like, hey, I'll take care of this. After that, I was like, Nicole, you're taking care of this Wednesday night. And she's like, actually, I'm going to be all by myself at work until 2. Can you do that? I'm like, fine. So I'm exhausted because his cat's been waking me up at like 3, at 5, at 6, just screaming. I'm like, please just calm down. So I'm tired.
So let me get this straight. You're sleeping in the same room as the cat then?
Yes.
You do not have to do that, you realize.
Well, it's in the studio, and I want to make sure she's not eating cables.
But you can't prevent that while you're sleeping as well.
But I'm a silent. What's the word? I'm a light sleeper, so I hear when things are happening. And she's been good. Besides I keep saying it on streams and on another podcast, but you know how some cables are curly like this?
Yeah.
Headphone cables, I should say, for the listener.
Curly.
So I've been saying she's an Arby's girl. She likes curly fries.
Yes.
Her name is Butter, I should say that.
Yeah, cute Butter. Yeah, Melissa's coming over here right now. And I don't suppose Butter is around where he or she is, or maybe gender fluid. I'm not sure. Like, what does Butters identify as?
Butter's a she.
Okay.
She just went behind the couch, so.
Yeah, so is Melissa. She's a she.
Oh, I thought you were going to say went behind the couch.
There's no couch in here to go behind. Actually, dear listeners, I'm going to take a quick pause real quick. I'm going to let Melissa out because she's pacing by the door. So it's obvious that our cats are not going to meet. I thought that might be adorable, but it's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So allow me 1 second, okay, James?
Alrighty.
James, I'm back, and we're cat-free now.
You're cat-free. I am not.
Well, yes. Good luck sleeping tonight. I'm so sorry that predicament, man. But, yeah, I hear you. I don't know what I can tell you about her waking you up at night, because that's something that Heather deals with and Charlotte deals with still to this day. And Melissa's 3, and she'll still wake them. I mean, not persistently, but I guess it'll slow down over time. Butters won't do this every Butters. Singular.
You keep saying. I guess Butters is the better name instead of just Butter. It makes more sense.
It's more fun to correct people and say, no, not Butters, Butter. It's more fun to keep doing that.
I'm going to start calling her Butters.
I don't know. It's up to you. Like, as long as she responds to it and she's okay with it, then go for it.
Yeah, I am either not going, or I think we might, because she needs to now see more of the apartment, and luckily we do have a door in between the back half of the apartment and the front half.
Right.
So, we record Hit It and Crit It tonight, she's going to have to, I'm like, Nicole, we have to, even if you wanted to wait another day, she's got to do it today, because it will be 5 dudes in this room. And if she's just walking around meowing while we're in like an end game fight, it's not going to make sense. And it's just going to distract. And I'm going to be like, well, I'm not going to try to edit this out, guys. It's just there.
I don't know. I listened to Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast, and a regular appearance by their dog would show up there, and I thought it always made for cute audio. I don't mind animal interruptions. Go ahead.
For Mostly Speaking Sentai, Frank would come in and scream all the time, especially if it was like we were recording late at night near his dinner time.
Right.
And that was fine. But for Hit It and Crit It, it is a narrative podcast.
Yeah.
And that would take people out of the narrative. That's the only reason I'm iffy on her being in here. And she'll just be trying to get at cables, and I'll be like, get out of here.
You can always take an old cable and define it as hers, like one that doesn't work anymore. No, or this is I'm sure you've already done this. Take an item, a cloth item from each cat, and put it in the other's room so they get used to each other's smells.
Yeah, we're going to be doing that. Like toys have been exchanged.
Okay.
And Socks is he looks tentative and excited to meet her. He's not pissed. He kind of seems sad that he's not able to come in this room and meet her. Yeah. So that's a huge relief off from me, because I thought he was going to be an asshole about it.
I mean, you're doing the right thing right now, and as long as you're used to each other's sense, and you probably won't even have to interfere at all. Just kind of open the door and just let them do their thing, and they might be shy for a long time after that. But if you've done the right thing, they'll already know who each other are.
Yeah.
You know,
they've been sitting. One has been laying on each side of the door and kind of just like sniffing at each other.
Oh yeah,
cute.
Hopper and Melissa do that outside the fence, because Melissa will get on the other side of the fence where Hopper can't get to, and it's adorable to watch, man. It's great.
Yeah,
this is the Kitty Cat Podcast. This is a sweet kitty of time going on here. It sounds like you've had this happened on Tuesday, and today is Thursday. So anything that's your main thing this week, I guess, huh? That's probably been dominating your week.
Yeah, and we'll. It's technically 2 weeks for the listeners, but our Iron Maiden stream, you can watch it on the YouTube and Facebook page for Mostly Speaking Sentai still, like in a VOD. It went great. I loved the time we shared.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was like It was a notch up, man. I loved it. I went back and re-listened to it. I don't know if you did or not, but I went ahead and re-listened to it, and I loved it. It was great.
Hell yeah.
I can't wait to do that kind of, I mean, we are going to do that kind of thing again. I don't have to do the can't wait or I hope it does, because we'll do the Wheel of Time game. Or that's what the plan is anyway. And yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad you invited me onto your stream. I was friggin' honored to be on that part of it. You know, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, I really miss doing streams with other people, so I'm excited you're down for it. I'm trying to get Sean to do more, and then probably Shelby from the Rom Complex. Try and get her on some.
I need to listen to her podcast, because I've listened to her episodes. She's great. I mean, she's fun to listen to. So I need to start checking out that podcast too. I still haven't delved into some of your old podcasts that I need to get into, because I'm just a busy boy.
Really, my favorite one to listen to, because it's only a few episodes, I think maybe 12 episodes. I'll get there. Listen to that one. I need to put that in the Marshland Media podcast stream, because spoilers, I don't know the password to Anchor's account for that one, and I don't know the password to the email address associated with it, so I can't reset the password.
Great.
Those ones are super funny. It's Courtney Monse and I. Nicole's in it, and some other Marshland Media regulars were on the show. But there's a few bits. I think it's episode 6 that is just, it's one of the funniest things on any of our podcasts. I reveal something that I like. A revelation that I came to in that moment that I was like, oh yeah, this is something that happened in my childhood, and it's very, very funny.
That sounds great. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. You did say the title of the podcast, right?
Yes, I'll get there.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't sound familiar to me, so I'm glad you said something. I'll gravitate to that.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, cool. Let's see. It's just been a real interesting week. I have barely cracked a book this week. I usually have something ready for the book corner. The book corner.
Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Pick up a book. You got a fantasy, imagination can take you to where you want to be. Are you curious? How can you find out? Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Read about stars and cars, playing electric guitars, or cops that work hard, patrolling the boulevard, the heavyweight champ and his craziest bout. Books, check them out. Books, check them out. At your library.
But I've just been, reading The Gathering Storm at night. I haven't been exploring anything else. I didn't prepare any other, authors to recommend. So I'm just going with The Gathering Storm. Did you get any reading done this week? Did you finish your comics?
Yes, I finished Death's Head, and it was fine. I love the artwork. It needed an issue or two more, I think, to really make the story cohesive. Especially for someone who doesn't know what's going on with Wiccan, Hulkling, and Death's Head at the time in this series, in Marvel's Marvel's expanded universe of comic books. So that was odd, but I got paid a little for more than I usually do. So I was like, nice. I got a little spending change. Also, taxes came back, so I went and scooped up some comic books because I saw at Dark Tower, it's a local comic book store, they had some Radioactive Man comics, and there's not a lot of them.
Yeah,
so
I got those.
I was like, what?
I got those comics, Radioactive Man, hell yeah.
Whoa, hell yeah. So I'm trying to collect all of them, and I started reading them, and I'm like, there's so much text. You're getting your money's worth story-wise in a Radioactive Man. So I'm picking up those, and the Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic, I finally found issue 2 because the week it came out, Nicole doesn't know, the other Dark Tower doesn't know. Something was up with them sending out issues boom, because no one around here had issue 2 until I went in there to get some Radioactive Men, and I found it. I was like, hell yeah. The story and artwork in that has been amazing. I'm excited. I think it's going to be 5 issues maybe. So it'll be a mini series, and I'm so surprised Toho allowed Godzilla to do this.
they talk about like arbitrage on Grift Horse, which we listened to, and you were talking about how like the specific area didn't have episode 2. That's something that I'm fortunate about because I get to travel around a lot. So if I'm looking for something like that I can't find in Richmond, like I found that auto tune, an analog auto tune when I was in Iowa, and that's the kind of thing you can't find anywhere. And it's just I just so happen to be in the same town as a guy on Craigslist, so it's always good to scour, Goodwills or wood grills, as we should say, and comic book stores when you're in different towns. The Radioactive Man, I like the way, I think there's only 6 issues of that, and it's like issue 1 is like issue 1, and it's like from the 50s, and then like issue 2 is like not actually issue 2, but it's like from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and so on. And I like the way they changed up the style every time, and the writing was fun. I bought them as they were coming out, and I'm pretty sure I still have them. I have two boxes of comics that are like I'll never get rid of these. Although I still have right beside me here like a Wheel of Time book, and then a Power Rangers movie, and then some Milk and Cheese comics that I'm supposed to be putting in the mail for somebody pretty soon here. Some comics I said, I'm not going to ever get rid of these. Then I was like, shit, I'll share them. I don't care. Because I've already read them a million times. I just picked up one of the random Milk and Cheese, number 4, just started like thumbing through it. And like I'd already like memorized every panel. I knew what was coming each page, and I hadn't looked at it in years. And it's so like ingrained in my memory. I feel like I don't even need the actual product anymore because I can just read it in my mind.
It's like that kid who on like Tumblr posted about how as a child they watched Shrek so many times that they could just close their eyes and for an hour and a half just recall the entire movie.
I've done that with lots of movies when I was a kid and bored, like pre-internet days. That's the kind of thing you did. Exactly.
One last thing on comic books. I'm trying to get... So Street Sharks had 2 series, 3 issues each of Street Sharks, and I've sent them to collaborator Howard Kramer.
Hell yeah.
And because he collects Street Sharks and did not know there was a comic book. And I had the first issue for a long ass time that I got from like White Cap Comics in Grand Rapids in maybe like 2011. I just sent those to him. He was very gracious, and I was like, whenever I can grab series 2, I'll send them your way. These, like, I have on mycomics.com or mycomicshop.com, I have it on my want list. So whenever new stock comes in, I'll get a notification. I got a notification that I saw 2 hours after I got the email. I went and they were already all sold out. I don't know who is wanting and waiting for these Street Shark Series 2 comics. There's only 3 issues. I own one of them, I believe. I'm just like, please, someone let me get these.
It was Chip Pope and Megan Beth Keister all ran in there and scooped them up to buy them for Howard Kramer, I guess. I don't know who else would be like jonesing after those besides him.
Maybe Vin Diesel?
I don't know. But, I was after listening to Grift Horse and maybe like a year and a half, 2 years back, the real big thing was like, they were pushing eBay sales. So I like picked up my eBay sales and started selling stuff. And some of the stuff I was selling was those skateboard magazines, Big Brother. And not shortly after, I think it was like months had elapsed. And one of the ones I had sold was the ICP issue that had the interview with ICP in there. And I'd already sold it. I took some pictures of it, but I didn't take any pictures of the ICP like interview because I was like, I can probably find all this stuff online. But you cannot find that interview online. That actually is like something you can only read if you have the physical copy, and it's gone. And I wanted to like share that with you and Sean, and all I could do was just share what I remembered from the article. And it wasn't much, but it was such a great interview that he did with those guys, and they were so game to take the piss and to give it back to him. I mean, it was such a funny back and forth, and it was obvious neither one of them really knew each other or liked each other, but they were just having total fun with each other,
Yeah. Quick thing about eBay, I found an original copy of Silent Hill for PlayStation 1 by our dumpster last summer when like someone was just moving and was like, oh, here's a bunch of games. They just had it by there. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is expensive. It finally sold for how much do you think, Steve Barnes?
Silent Hill, $60.
$180.
3 times what I thought. Oh my God. Silent Hill. Jesus, I didn't know it was that rare. I need to go check Caleb's old games up in the attic because he has tons of games. Not tons, but he has a selection of games up there. I wonder if they're worth $180. Why is it worth $180?
The old horror strategy games are very or survival games, I should say, are very sought after because they didn't even actually. This doesn't make sense. Silent Hill, it's the black label and the green label. The green label means it's the greatest hits. It sold over like a specific amount of units. This was for the green label, and the green label, maybe they didn't make a lot of the green label because they're like, well, it's a horror survival game. People aren't going to get a lot, but we owe it to Konami or whoever put it out. And that one is more expensive on eBay than the original black label. And I think I told Nicole, like, hey, list it to sell. So she probably could have listed it for $220 and maybe eventually made that. But I was like, $180, it'll be good.
You found $180 sitting by the dumpster. That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
That's what we call a ground score, bro.
Yeah. And then, we found that Xbox 360 and all those games, but that I'm keeping.
Oh, heck yeah, man. Well, yeah, let's move on to some band corner, James. I'm not even gonna ask you. I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna go right into our band corner now. And
you
we're gonna
did say that, and then you said I'm not even. And it's like, no, you did the thing.
I just default to politeness. I suppose. I don't know. So back episode 2 or 3, when I started doing bands, I was real excited to promote my friends, and the first bands I chose were Voidmaster and Evil Kim Evil. And I've already played Voidmaster probably like 3 times on this show, but I have not gone back for Evil Kim Evil. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to play Evil Kim Evil's new tune called, and I got to take a pause here because we were communicating earlier, this Dragonoid and I, and I'm really bad at misgendering. I'm really bad at song titles. I'm really bad at remembering things like that, especially as I get older. So we're just taking a quick pause while I make sure I get all my names right here. But we're not actually taking a pause, James. I just keep saying that to vamp for time.
Oh, okay. You could have. Hey, shout out to them because very supportive on Instagram, always liking stuff. I like their stuff back. Shout out to them.
Yes, absolutely. And I just found the name of the song. It's called We're Still Alive. Evil Kim Evil just played a show up in Bushwick, New York, about 5 days ago. And some pictures we're going to post are going to be from that show. So here is Evil Kim Evil. We're Still Alive. Please kiss the stars. And pushing up at us and Mars. You never look back and you never look down. Every time I sleep in the river down. We're still alive. Still alive. Forget their knives. Still alive. Just first off, what's your initial thoughts about this episode? I got to ask you just straight up.
It ended strong, and I want to watch this last episode now.
All right. Yes, we're going in.
Do you want to anyone? Because I know, unless it really shits the bed on the last episode, to anyone who's like, oh, why did they do this? The book, this, that. This series is great.
Preach. Yes, I agree. I like it a lot, and I'm going to keep watching it no matter what. I mean, the guys
okay.
on. You go first.
What I'm about to say, I know is stupid. Just so everyone who's like, wow, I can't believe
I'm
he's
prepared.
comparing it to that. The Captain Underpants books I love. The movie I thought was a home run. And then they take liberties on the TV show, but guess what? It still has the feel and the ambiance of Captain Underpants.
Right.
So I'm fine with it. I don't care. I love it. I've never seen something like I guess I was going to bring up the Mario movie because I'm not really a huge fan of Mario, but as a child I was, and I still love the movie. Like, you have to sometimes when you adapt one thing to another medium, you have to change things to make it entertaining for that medium. You can't have these long, drawn-out explanations of things that I'm guessing the books do from what you have told me of them. That's not going to translate as a TV show. It needs to, you need to be seen that information, not be told that information.
That's not the issue that a majority of book readers have with the show, unfortunately, because there's been major changes, not just formulatic changes, but definitive character changes, definitive choices that are extremely different. People are portrayed in a completely different way than they are in the book. Not just, they're leaving things out. It's not that they're leaving things out, it's that they're changing things. But I like to think that I'm in the minority of people who love the books and also love the show. And I felt that way for quite a while until I found that specific Facebook group, which I think is the Wheel of Time. There's a couple of different ones that are like the Wheel of Time on Prime TV and the Wheel of Time TV show. I think it's the one that's a Wheel of Time TV show where I found a lot of people like me who like both. And we're rare. I don't know why, but I think it is because of some of the extreme changes they made on this. But I mean, obviously, I'm in agreement with you because I'm doing this show, and this show is also I said it at the beginning of the podcast, as in like episode 1. I haven't said it since then. The whole point of this podcast is to show that you can get somebody into the Wheel of Time without them having to read 15 books. you just watch a TV show. Or and if you don't understand it all, then you listen to a recap podcast or, the Wikipedia or I can't remember what they call the Wheel of Time wiki. It's something specific.
Well, I'll say this, still on the Captain Underpants thing. In the books, the Principal Krupp, I believe is his name, is just like a vindictive, petty asshole. He is a villain. And then, he snaps fingers and he becomes Captain Underpants. It's cool. Or gets water dumped on his head. I haven't read the books in a little bit. I have watched the Christmas special every single year since it's come out, like the past 2 or 3. So he's not really the principal much in that. But in the movie and TV show, they make him like a sad, depressing, like, hey, he's an administrative at a public school. His life will probably be a little sad. And it makes more sense because you want him to be a little more sympathetic in a TV show. You're not going to want to keep watching someone who is just a straight up dick to children. And
right.
like that also, like, if Dave Pilkey were heavily involved, he probably would have been like, well, all teachers are assholes. You need him to be that. You're going to strip away the message that I've my entire career's been about. Teachers are assholes.
So I need to make a correction for you, James. We were talking about when Matt got stuck on the other side of the portal gate there. And then they show a scene of somebody like walking away from the portal gate and they're walking towards a city. And you said, oh, I thought that was Matt walking to the city that they're in. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, we were both kind of wrong. That was Paddon Fane, the peddler.
Yeah.
He was walking to the city that they were at, and then we ran into him later. So I was completely mistaken there.
Okay. Yeah. See, I knew it was a city that they were in because I was like, I don't remember it being the White Tower.
I just mixed things up in my mind. My apologies, but here we are. We now know. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Another thing I wanted to bring up is I was really dismissive of the Perrin, Rand, and Egwene love triangle last episode. And I went back and listened to the edit, and I was very dismissive of the whole thing and didn't really give it any credence. I realize this is a show and it's a plot device. I just want to apologize, I guess, for like just being so straight up. Like, I don't know. I felt like I was very negative about that. Did you pick up on that at all?
I mean, not your. I think I agreed. It doesn't really need it. Why do we need this love triangle when he was clearly like so in love with his wife? And maybe back in the day he had a crush on her, and that's fine. And maybe he used his wife as a way to kind of forget. But it doesn't matter how it started. It matters how it ended. And right, he's still in the wake of murdering his wife, even though not his fault.
I agree. They were in the heat of the battle, and like it wasn't like he paused and then swung the axe at her. The swing was already happening once he realized what was going on there. That was pretty clear.
Clearly not the dragon, though. The dragon would have been able to stop it mid-air or at least heal her.
Yeah, fat old healing right there on the spot. Yeah, if Nynaeve was in the room, she could have screamed and made that all go away. That would have been fantastic. Mm-hmm. But as we are, we're going to start out here. We just finished watching the love triangle quarrel, and Nynaeve made it kind of awkward. Our next scene here is a series of scenes with Moiraine and Lan. Did you have any thoughts about any of these scenes before we get into...
Yeah, my note was the quote from Meringue saying, "Oh, it's just the smell of the air in this city reminds me of the day we met." And yeah, going back to Michigan in the fall time, mid-September area reminds me of the day Nicole and I first met. Us going to Art Prize there, it resonated with me a lot.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, there's a certain scent that Maymont Park has here in Richmond. The same thing, and I love it. Why am I stuttering, James? There's absolutely no reason for that to be happening. We just have a brooding moment here. There's not much to say about this scene, basically. Lan strolls into town. Nynaeve follows. They come upon, or I shouldn't say like they, because it's just Lan going to visit a family that he knows. They all grasp arms. They're very overexcited. We find out later this is a family that knew him since he was a child. Nynaeve follows him, and so first off, Lan shows up unannounced, which is fine, absolutely fine. But I thought it was interesting. They're living like in a desert city there at the Blight. They're struggling. Like their day-to-day life is like dealing with Trollocs, and they have to ration food. They have this whole nice big setup of like some pho here and a pho, whatever you call it, some ramen noodles, and Lan comes in and they have plenty to share with Lan. I'm just wondering, like, it didn't kind of match the background to me. Did you pick up on that at all? That maybe this was more of they didn't seem like a town that was in peril.
I mean, I haven't seen, okay, because they have a ballooning bed budget. Their beds are fantastic. I've just because you can both be a town in peril but still be well off in the sense, because if they're the last line of defense for these things and they're taking out Trollocs, I feel like they would be also getting monetary or some sort of support from the outside world as well.
Like he said, like when Moraine showed up and was like, I can help you out, he's like, we don't need your help. These guys are like on their own, basically. It's almost very similar to like you might say the Night's Watch up in the Game of Thrones. Like those guys up on the wall, they're like defeating against like some outside forces that are coming in, but nobody's even aware that they're even having that battle, and they're losing that battle, and nobody even knows, and nobody cares. It's almost the same thing here in Faldara, where it's just getting worse and worse for them. So it just seemed like them having like a happy meal was it was just interesting to me, I guess.
They got McDonald's here? I though don't think this was unannounced, because she said, hey, do you have anyone to see before we leave? And he said yes. I feel like this was somewhat planned, or they knew he was in town and was like, well, obviously we got to talk to him.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think about that. Oh, yeah, at any rate, Lan knows his Nynaeve's out there creeping around, watching too, so he go ahead and invites her in. This kind of turns into like some, I don't know, I think we should call Shelby. This seems like a rom-com kind of episode to me.
It does. The music going on in this scene, I was like, oh, please make this stop. But I have one thing to comment on, and he is trying to play it so cool with her, but also but borderline negging her, which is the dad in this situation says, oh, she's so beautiful. And he says under his breath, but loud enough for her to hear, says, I hadn't noticed. And it's like, come on. Yes, you did, dude.
I wrote that down too, that he's like a master negger. So I guess he's been, what's that TV show? The pickup artist guy. He's been taking advice from Mystery.
Yeah.
So yeah, this huge-eyed man is giving Nynaeve some intense, massive eye contact during dinner, which has got to be a little uncomfortable. But yeah, he walks her to the door, or she walks him to her door, and it seems like they're gonna have a good night kiss. It doesn't happen. Closes the door, takes off his shirt.
Oh, okay.
Got those sexy scars. Don't stop me now.
Okay, keep going.
Slowly unbuttons his pants. No, what were you going to say?
Well, then there's a creak of the door, and she walks in. And I said, if she strokes his back scars, I'm going to be so pissed off, because that's a trope that needs to end in movies and TV shows. Like,
you're absolutely right.
I believe it's happened in a Batman of, how did you get all it's the same thing. How did you get all these scars? And it's like, you understand he is a man of fighting, of
Yes.
battle, a warrior, he's going to have scars. Now, Nicole has like it's not from battle, but has a metal spine, so she has a scar down half her back. So I'll kiss that here and there, and she's like, I can't feel that, James. It's a metal spine.
Yeah, I'm glad that Nynaeve didn't go that route, but I'm looking at Lan a way I've never looked at him before.
I'm just constantly like tossing refrigerator magnets at Nicole's back. None of them stick, and she's like, "Please stop doing that." Oh, holy shit! No, that needs to be that's a crumb bums. Like Frank just like tossing, like you just see him like tossing, and then next panel, like after like a few tosses and nothing's sticking, it zooms out. Oh no, it's him in socks, like playing a game. Or me and Frank, and then it zooms out to Nicole making dinner, and she's like, "Can you guys please stop that? The metal spine is not that kind of metal."
I like it. Maybe, yes. I have nothing to add, sir. And where are we now? We're talking about how, oh yeah, they hooked up.
Yeah, and she
We're
says,
just gonna,
yes. "Do you want me to leave?" And then they just start kissing.
yeah, so something's happening. We'll give them their privacy. We'll let them be, and we'll move over and we'll spy on Rand doing some archery. He seems a little distracted. Maybe he's distracted by Nynaeve and Lan's hookup. I don't know. I'm not distracted by it. I was waiting for it to happen, and it happened. Let's see. He gets confronted by Egwene. She's asking for an apology, and Rand's like, yeah, the usual thing is you come to me when we're ready to talk, because if I go to you first, it's not going to work out. So it kind of seems like Rand's kind of being standoffish there, but actually that's kind of the wise move, is not to try to go apologize to her before she's even ready to hear him. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Do you think that was the wise move or not?
I mean, Nicole and I'm in a relationship where it's a very... we apologize immediately, and the only thing where it's like I want Nicole to come to me is if you ever come over and you hear Moose Blood's Gum, that song on repeat over and over again, you're like, oh, okay. James is in a serious depressive state. I should probably talk to him. And there was one time where like that's the deal. If that's on repeat, Nicole should come say something. And then later on, I'm like, yeah, I was very depressed today. And she's like, oh, okay, that's why you were listening to Gum. And I was like, yeah, you heard what? And she was like, I wasn't sure if it was like on repeat or if this was an album that the other songs sound alike. I was like, no, it's like I want to watch American Beauty in the dark. It's the same thing over and over again, Nicole. Listen to that song. It's great.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but if I hear it on repeat, I'm going to know the appropriate response. I already know. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, so we get a full on 100% Rand right here. He's all in with Egwene. He's like, I think you should go to the White Tower. I will go. I will be your warder. Won't that be cool? You're an Aes Sedai. I'm your warder. I think that's a great idea, personally. I would watch that. Yes.
When he said, I think you should go do what you want to do, go to the White Tower, I was like, yeah, she'll become Aes Sedai and he'll become warder. And right after I got done writing that, he's like, and I'll be your warder. I was like, okay, all right. I can scratch this off. Don't need to bring this up.
Well, yeah, they affirmed their relationship basically here, which I'm liking that. And let's see. That did end on a positive note, right? Because my notes indicate that it ended positively.
Yeah.
I wrote love, kiss, music. That's what I wrote. Yeah. Okay, cool. So next up, we're going to Daishan, the king of Malakir. We learned a little bit of stuff about Lan. We learned that old man with the big eyes saved him when he was a child. That's why he was like so over the top psyched and friendly, because he was, he loves this kid Lan. This kid Lan, who did they did you catch that he is a king? He
Yeah.
is a king, but his kingdom is no longer. It got destroyed by the blight.
And that made... I loved that because then we know that Meringue and him both are royalty. They come from a royal bloodline. One gave it up and one had to so then the fact that when Meringue says, "Oh, I took everything from you. This isn't your battle." It's like, yes, it is. These evil forces took everything from him, and he is here to kind of get vengeance and also make sure it doesn't happen to other people.
Yeah, right on. Yes. Well, we learn here that he basically belongs to Moraine, according to Nynaeve. And we learn that wisdom never weds. We're reminded of that. It seems like everybody is coupling up now. With the exception of poor Farron, who's probably like just masturbating furiously somewhere, like while everybody else is like hooking up.
I guess it's been months.
He should be with Matt. Say again?
It has been months since the incident of killing his wife, but I wonder if Nicole were to, God forbid, pass away, how long would it take for me to then masturbate?
I don't know, maybe 36 hours is my guess.
I don't know.
I mean, especially because it might be a sad masturbation session, but I'm sure you would be thinking about her during this.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. But then I would just be crying. I would just be crying then, though.
It wouldn't be the first time, would it? You've never cried and masturbated?
No.
I never have either, thankfully. Rand starts thinking real hard. He can't sleep. He's masturbating furiously besides Perrin, so he can't sleep either. So he starts thinking about his dad, starts thinking about his dad's sword. Oh, that's terrible. His dad was a sword master, a heron marked blade. He's sorry. He's remembering the night that he rescued his father, and his father was talking crazy, talking about finding his mother, and Rand is putting things together. He's hitting bullseye after bullseye. We learned that it was Rand all along. It was Rand all along who remember when we blamed it on Egwene for using the one power inside the ways to like kill that troll. Like it was actually Rand. And Rand doesn't just have like that black evil streaky stuff. He's got like a mixture of like black and white. I went back and like, I don't know if you noticed that either, but I went back and rewound that many times to take a peek, and he's got a little bit of the black and a little bit of the white.
Yeah, I saw that.
Awesome. Yeah, so it was him all along. We found out. Have you seen the 70s movie called The Stuff by any chance?
I sure have.
Oh, great. Okay, yeah, because I was reminded by that movie by this, and I was like, that's a weird one that I'm not sure if James has seen or not, because it was just a bizarre, like, I don't even know if it had a budget. It was a cable movie even back in the 70s, just low budget, crappy, but I loved it.
You can watch it, like a beautiful print of it. It's on Tubi TV, I believe, to watch for free. Anyone wanting to watch it. It rips. We watch it, I think, within the year we watch it for the first time because it's always been on my list as something I need to watch.
What was it that reminded me of it then? Is it the white streaky one power stuff that's reminded me of the Stuff? Because I just started thinking about it watching this episode.
Oh, Lan does go down to the ground and sees like this little like gooey stuff on there and just like starts eating it. Just housing it right
Yes.
at that. The intro to that movie makes no sense. If someone's seeing something white bubbling out of the ground and is like, oh, I'll start eating this. Holy shit, it's great.
Never. I mean, I was in Ashland one time and I saw this like big like mushroom fungus that was like 3 feet huge. And it looked like the Stuff. I knew it was a mushroom, but I did not want to eat it. I would never even dare think about it. I might have gotten ahead of myself here. We go back and we revisit Min. I thought that we were at the end here, but I forgot that we have another conversation with her. And it turns out that she has met Rand before when Rand was a wee little baby. She was around in that town when that was Rand's dad, who was, of course, the soldier with the weird looking CGI face, who found the baby that was being born by Rand's mom, the little red-headed baby that you saw getting hoisted up. He takes that kid into town, runs into a little baby, or not a little baby, a little girl, Min. So we know Min's maybe like 4 or 5 years older than Rand. That umbilical cord slice. Did you see the way he cut that umbilical cord? And then she died?
Yeah.
I'm like, was that your fault? Could you have been a little more gentle with that?
No, that's not on him.
Yeah, I know. But when both of my children were born, I was given the option to cut the umbilical cord, and I did not either time because I was scared. I could never cut something that was, I don't know. I did not do it, James.
I know if a baby comes out not breathing, what you do is you grab it by the umbilical cord and just start swinging it around like a flail.
The heavier it is, the better.
And you'll be a hero. That's a reference to Freddie Got Fingered, which is a conversation we had in between a break.
Hell yeah. Min sees more stuff around Rand. She sees rainbows and carnivals and 3 beautiful women. Now, I know what that means, but what does that say to you, James? Rainbows?
My guess would be the 3 women that... Oh, the rainbows? I'm just focusing on the women part.
Okay, sure, yeah. Well, I was focusing on the carnival part because I figured they were going on a carnival of carnage, perhaps, in the next episode.
Oh, no.
Yeah, take a guess at who the 3 beautiful women are. What could that mean?
My guess would be the 3 women that he's with, or one could be his mom, and that's it. Wait, what did she see originally that I said, like, it was a woman holding a baby, right?
It was Rand holding the baby.
A Rand holding the baby, okay, which is probably the baby that she saw, like she is seeing him holding himself. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. You were right. I played dumb. You were absolutely correct. You haven't gotten anything wrong yet.
I might be wrong with these 3 ladies, though.
So it sounds plausible. They are beautiful. Nynaeve, Egwene, Moiraine. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
And that's who are 3 main women characters of the show. But what she doesn't tell him is whether or not he makes it back. He asks a pretty plausible question, and she just looks annoyed and doesn't answer him whether or not he'll make it back from that journey. So, I don't know, men, what's up? So at the next morning, we got Egwene here. She kind of busts Nynaeve, knows what's up, couldn't sleep. I guess that's like their code phrase for got it on all night.
Yeah.
More apologies here. Perrin joins them. They're all agreeing to go, but like, where's Rand? Then they do like the fake door knock thing, which is, I guess it's fun TV, but it was kind of annoying. But you followed that they were just faking all that, and that the night before, Rand went to Moiraine, told her, I'm the Dragon Reborn. So she decided to mask her bond to Lan, and she and Rand took off. Meanwhile, Lan is hanging out with Nynaeve, so he doesn't have any idea that happened. And now, our kids are aware that this has happened. And yeah, did you pick up on that, or was that obvious?
Oh yeah, I was pretty sure the knocking on the door was going to be from the nighttime, and they were going to do some shit with that.
Yeah, because daytime was when they had Lan joining the kids, and then I keep saying kids. Lan joining the crew, and then nighttime when Rand hooked up with Moiraine. They go to the edge of the Blight. I love this Blight music. There's a longer cut of it on Spotify. You're not a fan of it?
No, I thought you were going to say, because I agree. I thought you were going to be like, and I loved this Blight, because I was like, man, this seems like a cozy forest I would love to have a little cottage in.
When we were in North Carolina, we were at like some fast food restaurant and it like overlooked like some hill and it looked exactly like the Blight. It was like acres and acres of just like garbage weeds. And it looked exactly like the Blight. And I could imagine somebody going in there and living because it was big enough for somebody to go in there and hide easily. But that looks disgusting to walk through, but they're going to do it. Yeah, I wanted to go off on another tangent before we leave here, but did you have any other thoughts for the episode before we leave it?
No, I'm just truly anyone who's like, I don't like this show. Shut up.
Shut up already. Don't you see that you like it? You got to like it, but you're still listening to this, so obviously you like it to some degree. I wanted to get your opinion on some of our secondary characters that we've met so far, because we've met a lot of characters, not a lot, but we've met some pretty, I don't know, I'm almost liking the secondary characters better than the main crew. If I were to ask you, you know, outside of like our main crew, maybe like one or two characters that stand out to you. Do you have any that are like that?
Loyal, he's real cool.
Absolutely. He should be much bigger, by the way. That's something people were bummed out about, that Loyal wasn't, much bigger, because in the books, these guys are so big that they have like special like hotels specially for them that have like gigantic beds and gigantic furniture and gigantic books and crap. Basically, they're supposed to be like imagine like the biggest Trolloc that you saw in episode 1, and imagine Loyal as like 6 feet taller and like 3 feet wider than that. That's how big he's supposed to be.
I'm gonna say this to those people that have that criticism. You would not have liked that. They would have looked so fucking stupid.
Exactly. And I think that the guy who plays him, I think his name was Hamad Animation. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to see like his facial expressions and things like, I don't know. I think he did a great job playing him. And I like the fact that he can be face to face with Rand.
Because even the Hulk isn't that big. And just think if the Hulk with scale, and this show does not have a Marvel budget, so it would have looked bad all around.
I'm a big fan of Paddon Fane, the peddler. Just his look, just his whole general vibe, his eyes. I'm really into him, and I like Aram a lot too, who's part of the Tuathan. If you remember Aram, he's like the grandson of Isla and one of the hippies that Perrin hung out with.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my personal favorites. I don't know. I wrote down everybody's names here. I'll just shoot through them real quick, and maybe this will give you some brain juice. We got Valda. We got Bornhald, who was like the other guy that was the White Cloak, but didn't seem like he was as much of an asshole as Valda. But he didn't really play a huge role yet, but I'm sure he will. We got Isla from the Tuathan, who I was a huge fan of her. Like just her being on the show was exciting to me because I liked her work in other shows. Dana, the evil bartender, I really wish that they had given her more than one episode. You didn't like her? Oh, okay.
Nah. I think the only other Tom? Is that the
Tom the Bard? The Gleeman.
Yeah, I liked him, and I liked the False Dragon. And then a lot of the Aes Sedai I've enjoyed, minus the red one.
Yeah, Leandrin. I think I've said every episode that I'm in love with her, and I still stand by that. Yeah, Tom, we got to meet him again. I mean, they insinuate that he's dead, but he was just in the middle of a fight when we left that scene. So I think even the dumbest of viewers can like look forward to seeing Tom again. Matt's mom was a lot of fun. The drunk woman.
Yeah, if I had to guess, they'll bring him back, and he ended up being like polluted his mind, so he might be evil. That's my guess. I hope they don't do that because that's kind of the easy way to do it.
I mean, he was holding his own against that eyeless guy, the Fade, but I mean, he was out-strengthed, he was out-magicked, he was out everything. So, I mean, I hope that they do a flashback and don't just show Tom just pop up and say, "Hello, I'm back." I like the way they showed like Nynaeve took an opportunity to escape. It wasn't that she, Oh, and then her badass scene in the pool when she took that Trolloc down, the first Trolloc she took down. That was wonderful. I loved that. I'd forgotten all about it till just this very second. But yeah, that's the end of this episode, I think. Do I have any more notes? I got a blank page. So yeah, we're at the end of the Dark of the Ways. I'm going to pass over to my friend, the Marshland Monster. I bet he has a plug or two. Do you have any plugs this week for us, James?
I sure do. Go to MLMpod.com for information about my other podcasts and listen to my music there. You can also stream my music under Marshland Monster, wherever tunes are found, baby. Got a new Howard Kramer one coming out. I'm hoping to record my verse Saturday, maybe, if it's not too hot in here. And that's, and patreon.com/MLMpod.
Yes, sir.
Where for $5 a month, you get exclusive podcast every single Friday.
Thank you for those podcasts. I'm a fan. I will continue listening. What are my plugs? I'm going to plug Evil Kim Evil one more time. Please check them out on Instagram and check out their stuff on Spotify and especially Bandcamp. You can find cassettes, magnets. Nicole Jacobs does Darling Homebody, and she has, magnets, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff. And Evil Kim Evil is right there with her. They do the same thing. So check out their stuff. Check out my stuff. It's always around Intravoid, Rebecca Crow, and this very podcast, Sweet Child of Time, where we will see you next Thursday evening. And until then, Marshland Monster, I hope you always find water and shade, especially on your windowsills.
Mm-hmm. I hope you find water and shade as well, especially for your dog.
Arf, arf. Bye-bye.
Bye.